We live. Welcome back, all you beautiful people, to that We Got Action podcast, episode 49 coming at y'all. No Danny this week. Honestly, I'm not quite sure why. I forgot to ask when he told me he wasn't gonna be here today. I was like, we were talking about something else, and I completely forgot to even ask why. So yeah, no Danny. That's all I got for y'all today. But he's still grinding on social media, and we're gonna all start helping him out.
Yep.
All of us eventually. Eventually, we'll get to it.
I just got one out this past Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah, I got the
Beautiful.
Mike
Okay.
Budenholzer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Vitor was talking about getting some
Yeah.
ideas for NFL coming up.
Yeah,
We've got a lot
I'm gonna try to
previews for teams, basically
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
do some quicker stuff that when we don't get too in depth here, allows us to get a little bit more in depth on the socials.
And Danny was showing me on Saturday how to mess around with some stuff because I had an idea for like a more of a live reaction segment, like right after something happens. It's kind of
like
an
right
idea
after post game.
Yeah, like a live reaction,
Emotional thought,
2 cents
video.
kind of deal. Yeah,
And
they probably will be more.
That's exactly why
emotional.
We're very calm and collected when we get here for the most part.
Yeah,
but
and I'm working on interviewing some diehard fans. So like, I got a Baltimore Ravens fan who had a little heart attack to start the off season because Lamar asked for a trade,
and now he's probably in heaven.
Yeah, right. He came to school in his Lamar jersey because he resigned. I got an interview with him.
Alrighty. So today we actually have exclusively NBA. I feel like there's just too many storylines, too many. We're right in the thick of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Into the thick of it.
We got a long NBA season or MLB season that's only a month and a half in.
Yeah, if we try to touch on it every week, we'll be repeating the same stuff.
The same shit. And then NFL again is right around the corner. The rookie camp is in full swing, but none of the big guys are doing anything yet. So let's touch on some stuff. College football is also right around the corner. But yeah, let's get into straight into it. Yesterday the Warriors, they lost. I was kind of expecting that because the Lakers are now still undefeated at home, 5-0 or 6-0 or something like that. But the question I'm just kind of posing straight up, we got a kind of a two-part here for the Warriors, and some Steph Curry questions here. But do the Warriors, do we think they have another miraculous comeback in their wings to kind of keep this dynasty alive, sort of alive? I think obviously we got the OKC comeback. They had a comeback against Houston. They've had some tough matchups in Cleveland.
They're also they're on the downside of the Cleveland one, the famous one.
Yeah, they were down, I think 2-1 at one point in the first Cleveland series. But I'm just curious what you guys think about how we like their chances at this point. Not playing the greatest. Steph, Clay not shooting the greatest.
I think it's
mediocre.
Mediocre. You're being great.
That's gracious.
You're being real nice to him today.
Nice to him, yeah. I think they can have another comeback. I'm looking at how the offense is played. Like game 2, there was a lot of pick and roll with AD as him switching on to Curry. And then you beat the shit out of LA, and then Steve Kerr goes away from it in game 3. Then you do it again in game 4, and then you just stop running it for the second half. You only ran it 6 times in the second half for game 4. That's which led to them only scoring like at least 17. I think if you're not putting AD in pick and rolls right now and pulling him away from the rim with the way he's playing defense right now for LA, you need to pull him away from the rim. And you have probably the best, to me, one of the greatest pick and roll players of all time because he can shoot it from anywhere. You go under the screen if you want to, Steph gonna splash it. And that leads to a little bit more rhythm looks for him, a little bit more of getting him open and freeing him up. But I still think in order for them to make a real comeback, I need Clay to be more efficient and getting more shots in the second half. Like I think he only touched the ball like 6 times the second half.
And that's been actually pretty consistent outside of his 30-piece against Sacramento.
And that's tough because it's breaking his rhythm. Because I think you have to keep feeding somebody like that. But he also has to take better looks because he's messing up his own rhythms. And then Jordan Poole is just non-existent right now. I don't know. I'm on that KG path. He better go back to where he from, Wisconsin, wherever he from. He need to go figure it out on how he ended up getting his bag last season to play like he need now, because it's a completely different player. This is the Jordan Poole I think we was thinking about before he broke out last year, we were like writing him off like, yeah, he done. Like that's how we was talking about him a year and a half ago. And now he played good for a year, and I just think he's just lost his way. That's my biggest thing. Like everybody else is holding down the fort to me.
Right.
Draymond and Kevin Looney doing as best as they can inside with AD.
And it's
Curry
tough,
Curry trying his hard to hold, like carry the whole load on offense. But if I can't get anybody to help me out down the stretch against a AD that's very poised, Alani Walker stepping up, Austin Reeves stepping up.
That was ridiculous.
Hard.
That was absolutely
that's
ridiculous.
That's hard to play with, though, especially when I'm not even getting production from Jordan Poole. Moses Moody is non-existent. Where the hell has Jonathan Kuminga been? Anybody knows? Because I don't even think Curry's playing.
He hasn't been getting much tick in the playoffs at all.
The reason Moody's getting tick is because Poole's been so bad. He barely saw the floor in the regular season at all.
Yeah, and that's my thing. And with Kuminga, he's seen the floor majority. I think he needs to be on the floor a little bit more, in my opinion. Especially with somebody like a Rui Hachimura on the side, he combats that. Jonathan Kuminga got that same like mindset as like a Rui Hachimura to me. Like they're gonna bump heads a lot, but that's somebody who can elevate that game, bring a little bit more toughness to that unit of Golden State.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
One thing that was glaring to me during last night's game was the Warriors went on a quick spurt and they took a lead, running all pick and roll, running their offense. They came out after that timeout, and they did not run a single play for the rest of the quarter. It was Steph chucking, it was Clay chucking, it was sloppy. And I think that's the biggest thing. I don't know if it's, maybe it's credit to LA's defense. Maybe they're stopping things before they're able to happen. But they looked like Kerr threw him out there and said, "Hey, just go hoop."
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
They weren't doing anything like productive. And it's like that's what they got him. They had gone down. They got him back into the game by running their offense, and then they went back away from it. Yeah, and you mentioned the pick and roll. It just Steph was taking shots, two hands in his face because there was nothing else. No one was moving. I looked like I was watching a Bulls game out there. Ain't nobody moving. It was just one guy with the ball. Everyone's like, it didn't look like the Warriors.
Yeah, and these closer games, even when V's talking about that shot selection, the closer games, we got a shitty Jordan Poole 3 to me. And then I'll be honest, I think Steph could have got a better one. Or you did everything right. I think you need to step closer. But even then, Steve Kerr didn't run anything again. You got Clay sitting in the corner. I got all my shooters just spread. It's just like, go, Steph, go. And then you didn't even give it to him in the last possession. Like, I think that was a perfect situation. You gave a ball to Draymond to start. Curry took it out. All you had to do is get a handoff to Steph. I think Steph makes a better play. But I think they can make a comeback because you have to rely on, can you count on the production, just like how we was talking about like the Phoenix series, we're getting that later. Can you count on that production from the most role players? Austin Reeves has been the most consistent, but can Lonnie Walker give you another 15 points?
Right. I think for me, I find it hard to see this team losing 3 straight, especially come playoffs.
And the home game next.
And then you end up with the home game in game 6. So I see this still going 7. But again, the production outside of Steph Curry is really kind of fallen off. And I actually think Anthony Davis is kind of the reason, because his ability to switch out and still be able to defend on the wing, like we know how great he is in the paint and making it so tough for Steph to shoot floaters, for anyone to do anything inside. Like he's just such a shot altering. I mean, we've seen the difference from when Joel came back in the Celtics series from game 1 and from the end of the last game against Brooklyn. But like it's just such a, like he's getting 3-4 blocks a game. AD is just like Joel is. It's so different. But I think what AD offers is the ability to come out to the wing and to the 3-point line and guard and stay laterally quick with these guards. Like that's something.
And that's my thing.
There's only like 1 or 2 guys that could do that in the league.
And that's why I'm saying you have to put him in more pick and roll situations with Steph.
Right.
Because if you could switch AD on to Steph, AD can't just go leave Steph to go protect the rim. Yeah. It has to be Steph be aggressive, a quick swing, and then I need Jordan Poole. That's why I'm liking Jonathan Kuminga. He need to be on the floor more. That's a guy who puts his head down and attacks the rim with some type of like, I want to say some oomph in a sense, because once I swing and I got AD away from the rim, I need to attack the rim as strong as I can. And right now,
that's where I think Wiggins needs to be more aggressive.
And that's when, and he's been their best role player probably.
Oh no, he has, but I feel like he hasn't been as efficient because he's
Yeah.
taking a lot of threes. He's
Yeah.
settling
Or
a
like
lot.
these like turnaround pull-ups, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
he's
get to the
settling. He's
rim.
settling. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think we could lead into the next
Yeah.
question here. I think we're all kind of on the page where we
Yeah. I mean,
kind of
any
we
team
are
could
at
do
the
it.
thought that the Warriors, like you said, from what we've seen in the past 5 to 8 years, the Warriors are the team that have a chance to push this to 7.
Mhm.
And anything like we saw their last series, anything can happen in a game.
Having 2 home games as part of that is huge.
Right,
You know,
Mhm.
I think game 5 is theirs. It's going to come down to game 6. Can LA take it at home, keep that unbeaten record alive?
Right.
And that's
then-
gonna be like, to me, that's that revenge game for Steph in a sense.
Yeah.
Because that's
So-
LeBron, you got me back. You came back 3-1. And that's when that
Mhm.
series changed, was that game 6 win they had.
Yeah. So with the next question, Vitor, I think you posed
Yeah.
this. Do we believe if the Warriors lose this series, do we think they should alter kind of the timeline that they're on? So we kind of know that the approach since their championship in 18,
Mhm.
they had really down seasons in 19 and 20.
Yeah.
Or well, I guess in 20 and 21, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
19
Steph's
they made the
injuries,
finals,
yeah.
but KD and Clay went down. In 20 and 21, they obviously got 2 draft picks and started to do more rebuilding, get some younger guys, really try to retool, seeing that these guys were getting into their middle 30s soon. But yet they go and win a title.
Yeah.
So are we thinking if they lose this series, should they maybe look towards going all in to get another chip or two, really build around Steph? Or do we think they should start to really get these young guys some minutes, get them some exposure, and try to look towards developing for the future? Because obviously these 3 aren't going to be around forever.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, Kevon Looney's still fairly young. He's only
Mhm.
27, I think.
I'm torn.
It's tough, man,
Because
because Steph is
I
so
think-
crazy good.
Yeah, and if you asked me this last year, I probably would have said yeah. Just the way what Jordan Poole was playing, some of your role
Right.
guys were playing.
And he was
like
the
Wiggins
first one that came to my head too when I was
Yeah,
thinking
like
about
Wiggins-
like rebuilding and getting guys clocked. Like Jordan Poole is probably the one that you're trying to give the keys to.
Yeah. And I mean, we saw it when Steph missed games, he was a lot better
Right.
being that like lead
But
guy.
to me, yeah, but to me, I feel like for somebody like a Jordan Poole, his role hasn't changed. Like, I got you off the second unit right now to be that man.
Mhm.
And if he isn't right now, he's just non-existent right now. And I think that's a huge drop off for somebody who played really huge all last season and into the playoffs. And I think that's, to me, I feel like you have to stick this out like another year or 2. Like, and I ain't gonna lie, who knows? Who says Steph, Clay, and Draymond are gonna be around for another year or 2? They already up in age. I got Steph at 35, Clay at 33, and Draymond at 33. They ain't gonna be here that long. So why you brought, to me, it's like, nah, don't break that up just yet. Just let that float out. I'd rather you go get some good pieces. Like, the one thing I think that's missing to a dynasty like this with these type of players is a big. You can't, I don't think you can keep doing it with Kevon Looney. He can have all the 2020 games, all the 40 rebounds.
He won't be getting 20.
Yeah,
20 points gonna be hard to come by.
Yeah, I meant 20 rebounds. You can get all the rebounds in the world, but if he can't like defend and protect the basket,
Yeah.
it's gonna be rough. Like, I love his effort. He's a great, to me, like, he could be a good starting big, but I just don't think you need like Boogie would have been a great asset. You need somebody to be mean inside, to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need something like that, because you got the perimeter players already. I think the Steve Kerr might need to go.
It's tough though, because I
It's
feel
just
like
tough.
when you look at, like the Spurs, they won their last championship and those guys were at the end of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mavericks got one. So it's tough because with the right chips falling in the right place, it's still possible.
Yeah.
But I think the West is so young and so tough and so
that's my
that
thing.
it just keeps getting harder year after year.
Yeah, and it's just getting better and better. And that's why I'm like, it's the question that has to be asked. Do you want to contend for the next couple years? Or I believe, to me, rebuilding with how the rest of the West is moving, it's gonna be difficult.
It's gonna be like, you're gonna have to blow it up.
You're gonna have to blow up just about the entire thing and be rebuilding like it's like the Thunder from like
exactly.
still.
Thunder, the Rockets still
because Thunder getting better, Rockets getting
Pelicans
better.
did.
Pelicans, everybody's getting better. Phoenix might be trying to make a run. If you let go of some of these role players, Phoenix, I'm dead ass. I think Phoenix gonna steal some of these role players off the rip.
Oh God,
they need better role players.
Mhm.
And that's where I think it's gonna fall. But that's if you got. But it's also, to me, it depends on what they do with Bob Myers too.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about a guy who was spending money just to make a team happen. If you take him out of there, do that the next GM bring that same mindset?
Right.
Mhm.
Because if not, then I feel like you can low key turn this into something very ugly, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
And you got guys like Steph, Draymond, Clay, and all these other players supporting Bob Myers, but it's still no contract extension. Let alone for somebody who's been basically breeding a roster over and over each year for you. No matter what he puts out there, it's still a great team to come out on the floor each year for them.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to discuss this is because we see that, yesterday Poole got 10 minutes, 0 for 4 shooting. Moody's been playing more minutes, but that's mostly due to Poole's inability to stay on the floor. Kuminga's not playing. They already dealt Wiseman away to Detroit because he wasn't working.
Nope.
And I think we've seen it before. It's hard to develop talent when you're trying to compete.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't lose a game, you can't lose games in order to let the players develop, right? And that's what tanking is, right? Like you look at a Houston team, they're losing games, but they know that they're out there to get reps. How often did you see them go to the back of the bench when they were down 20, right? That's at the very end of the game. They would still get the guys running out to get a run,
right.
Continue to learn and play. Guys like Poole, Kuminga, Moody, it's hard for them to learn how to play on the fly when they have these guys and the expectations. And a guy like Steph's caliber, like you mentioned, the older Mavs team, the Spurs team, the only player who's even in the same stratosphere as Steph on these guys is Tim Duncan.
Correct.
The other teams did not have a player as good and as impactful as Steph.
What about Dirk?
He's close,
but he
wasn't consistent MVP in multiple championships.
No, I see what you mean.
They're on different tiers, in my opinion.
He's a tier below. He's not like terribly far, but
and so if you're the Warriors and you're Steph, ultimate goal is a championship, right? So you can't be,
especially at this age,
you can't be taking time out and roster spots out for guys who can't stay on the floor.
Yeah.
Can't play meaningful minutes. Yeah. And it's like, they won the one last year. And so I think obviously it's great to hold on to that. And you win a championship, you run it back. But it's clear that there is an issue, especially as these guys get older. We see Clay's efficiency dropping off. Draymond's effectiveness drops off a little bit. At what point do you have to balance? Hey, let's package what we got, grab a guy like a Pascal who can extend our window. We can become legitimate contenders for another 2
which
3
they
years.
did a couple of years ago when they
let me ask you this though. So are you willing? Do you think they should break it up? Because I feel like going for somebody like a Pascal, it has to be, to me, in my opinion, like a Poole and like a Moody, but it has to be like a draft pick on top of that. So then at me, like,
so that's, I guess in that case, you're trying to compete now.
And to me, that's where you fall into like the Phoenix thing. You giving up draft picks and shit, and and then where do you go next? You just signing old veterans at that point.
You're back to
and I feel like you signing old veterans where you signing freaking Terrence Ross and them out of there again, just to make the team work. I just think I don't think Golden State has to me, it's a real role player issue. Like the reason why we praise like the PJ Tuckers, the Clint Capellas, the Rudy Goberts, is because they all believe in their role. Like, and for guys like a James Wiseman that didn't work out, you probably had the simplest role of all time. Simplest role that could have been expanded. You had to rebound and block shots, which you were really good at in college. You couldn't stay healthy. And then when you did stay healthy, you couldn't do neither one of those things. I think it can work. I just think it has to be somebody who can buy into their system.
Yeah.
Like for me, Kuminga was buying into the system, but then Kerr breaks him out of there because he had a bad game. Yeah. And that's why I think the little issues or the mistakes can turn into like hurting their development, because you want to win, but you can't keep losing games. But also they'll never learn until like I get them on the floor, just to get them in those situations of playing. Like Kuminga can't get used to playing with Steph and them until he's on the floor with Steph and them. That's how I feel about it. Same thing with Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole can't play 23 minutes in the season and turn and play 10 minutes in one playoff game. That means you losing trust in me. Now he effing with his confidence to me. And that hurts. That's why I was like, to me, it's like a little more of a Steve Kerr thing to me. Like, what are you doing? Because
I feel like for a coach, it's so hard. You can't really build up and instill too much confidence in people, but you can sure as hell like break it down a lot easier.
But and that's, I mean, he's also put in the same boat we're talking about with these players and like competing versus development. He's stuck in a bad boat as well, where it's like you're talking about him negatively for not playing these guys, knocking their confidence. Ultimate goal is a championship, right? So if they're not playing,
mixed signals.
He's not. He doesn't know what to do with the front office. Just is it? Hey, do we play the young guys? Regardless of the result, are we pushing to win a championship? What's the, I think that if it was, if they had like one young player that they were working to develop, maybe two,
be a lot different.
But the fact is that they're trying to like basically usher in a whole new starting group slowly but surely.
And that's the thing. That's too much.
That's exactly.
I think they were. Yeah, I think that's just too much. It was good last year when we was just focused on Poole and Wiggins. Like, I think that was great. And then like Wiseman occasionally when he was on the floor. I think it's just got to be the same thing. Like I'm playing Moses Moody. Moses Moody to me right now isn't. How can I say this nicely? I don't think he's relevant. Like he shouldn't be on the floor to me right now.
Well, I mean, I think if you were a Warriors fan going into game 82 and they told you, hey, Moody's going to be playing, big meaningful minutes in the playoffs, and so is GP2. Meanwhile, Poole is going to get 10 minutes and Kuminga's getting the DNP. They would be like, what?
Yeah,
right.
Because during the regular season, it was Poole and Kuminga.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at GP2 and Moody. Yeah.
And that's the same thing with Poole. As much as we keep playing Clay at this shitty rate, play Jordan Poole at this shitty rate.
Yeah, I mean,
they ain't gonna learn.
Yeah. So I personally think that because of Steph's caliber, it pushes me. If I were in that decision-making process, it would push me to commit to contention.
Do you let go of Draymond?
I personally would not.
No.
Not only
he's too good with Steph. In my
that's
opinion.
exactly why. Even if his individual game is falling off a little bit, I think they play so well together, and I think they're such good friends.
There's no person in the league that's going to play as well as Steph.
I don't know if y'all saw.
Steph does with Draymond.
It was game 3, I believe. There was a timeout. Poole was walking off, and Dre tried to tell him something, like coach him up. Yeah, and he'd head down, walked right past him, and Steph grabs him. He's like, "Yo, like told him how it is. Like when your vets, you got Hall of Fame vets speaking to you, you got to listen. You got to learn."
I know what to help Jordan Poole. Let Draymond sock his ass one more time.
Sock him from the other side. Knock his brain back in place.
Hey, I need you back, baby. Come on.
And I think that's part of the problem too. Like just kind of just again with like everything we're saying is like you've got these 3 greats that are future Hall of Famers, and then you've got this fairly young core, and these 3 greats just have such high expectations for guys that don't have the reps under their belt.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're either going to crack through and be great, or they're going to crack and fall and crumble, and you know what I'm saying? And it feels like at this point right now, the guys that are young and supposed to be your role players and helping you push forward are not showing up. There's just too much pressure.
Hypothetically, tell me this. If you were the Warriors, you got an offer, hey, Jordan Poole, Kuminga, and a couple picks for Pascal. Are you not?
I mean, he's too similar to Wiggins to me.
Yeah, I mean, I actually just saw a package
I would
with
do like
Wiggins,
Poole and Wiggins or Wiggins and somebody else.
I saw Wiggins and Kuminga with picks.
But see, if you do Wiggins, to me it's like
Pascal.
No, but
Pascal
to me, it's like
let
the Phoenix
them play small again, which I think they have not been able.
Pascal
to
would be your 5.
Exactly.
Right, but my thing is, who would be the 4?
That'd be like having KD. Dre. That would be like having KD
3?
Again.
Then who's gonna be the 3 if you give up your 2 starting 3s?
Looney. He's gonna be 3, 4, 5.
No.
You're also you
still have
Kevon,
DiVincenzo. They play small. They're not playing like a true small forward when they play like that.
The whole point
but to me, if you look at those depth,
like when I'm talking about like KD was your 3 and he's playing your 5.
Yeah.
But even before KD got there, it was Harrison Barnes. That's my thing.
Who's like
that's
a
not
3,
a big
4.
Right,
But they were playing with David Lee or Bogut, whoever the hell it was.
David Lee was there back in the day.
Pascal. Yeah, Pascal's a 3-4.
He's a true 3-4, but
he's more of a he played more 5 than 3 this year. Like the reality is like
he's Pascal for like,
and he's got that same like playmaking that you can get from Draymond with a more offensive threat too.
And he gives you what KD gave you, that more defensive ability to.
So that's why I'm saying, like,
rim protect.
I understand not wanting to ship every single young player out, but when you're in the cap hell that you created,
guys that you just gave a contract to, you give up one of your younger guys, you give up a couple picks.
Yeah, because like we've talked about it, their contract situation is terrible.
Yeah.
So if you can dump, even Wiggins has been great, he's been super productive for him.
It's been better between Poole and them.
But if you can ship him and a Moody and some picks, or him and Kuminga and some picks for like a guy like Pascal, you're keeping the money relatively the same, and you're getting a guy who's going to be far more impactful. He's going to be able to take the load off of Steph. In these situations like yesterday's game where they're not running plays, you can dump it to him, and he can, whether it be attacking the basket, turn around shot, playmaking, he can make something happen. Whereas Wiggins needs to play off of Steph and Clay and Dre, right? I mean, Clay needs to play off Steph.
Pascal can get his own.
So that's what I'm saying. They need to have a guy
to create for himself.
But do you? So then my question is,
that's part of their problem.
Go ahead.
Question is, then what do you round that bench out with?
I mean, they have a decent enough bench, but you can still always get people.
Yeah, the vet minimums are alive and well.
But I'm saying that they still have. You only giving up Moody or Kuminga.
Yeah.
So you have one of them.
I don't think nobody want Moody. They gonna want Poole.
Hey, I think the Warriors would love to, if they say, "Hey, we'll give you Wiggins and Moody for this," and they turn around and say, "Hey, we'll actually we'd rather have Poole and Kuminga." I think they would love that.
Because I was about to say, there's your 3.
Because you're also talking about
there's your Wiggins, Drake,
because I think Poole's attitude is another problem for them that they might. I'm sure internally it's been a thing. Nothing's been leaked out, but it's very obvious that he has.
It actually has been leaked. It just came out because he was a little too frustrated at the game. They was just talking about a report, and I was just like, "You playing like shit, dog. Yeah, you don't have no say right now."
Get minutes if you're not.
And it's not like he's just you're missing good shots. Like you're taking bad shots. You're not
picking up too fast.
Offense.
Yeah, you picking up too
taking
fast.
Bad ones. He's missing open ones.
And then picking up 2 fouls quicker than it. Freaking JJ, Triple J trying to foul
fouls. They're just like stupid
ones.
Ticky tack.
Oh, I can't grab you. Then I just slap your arm instead of actually like corralling you. You get an easy hand one.
To me, right now, Jordan Poole has that like DeAndre Ayton mindset. Like, get me the fuck out of here.
Bro, we should build a
Sharman lineup.
We should. That should be too good.
Like to me, that's where the NBA be effing with me a little bit, because there's too many guys in the NBA when they don't get their way, they just like, I'm gonna play like shit. You make too much money to start playing like shit, because then you just messing up your next bag. To me, like you can go get a bigger bag if you just stay the course. And to me, if it's somebody like a DA and Jordan Poole, you two are the most simplified teams of all time. Just do your role, you get rings, baby.
All right,
and you in the history books.
I'm gonna reel us in. I just want to go quickly. Isaac, do they blow it up, or should they just kind of retool around Steph?
Retool around Steph.
You say blow it up. Do you mean blow up the vets or the youngins?
I think get rid of pretty much. I would say, blow it up. I would say, like in your question, do they retool around Steph, or do they start developing their younger?
Yeah, I'd say give up on the 2 timeline thing. Go back Steph and go try to win another ring or 2 in the next 2-3 years.
Okay. I'm also in that boat. I think they still, with the way Steph is, I still think Clay is a very serviceable catching 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Draymond, again, there's no guy in the league that's going to play off.
He makes your offense work. Yep.
You've got assets. You've got probably four players that anyone in the league would kill to have. Pair a couple of them together with some future picks. Go get another star that can be your 2 or 3 with Steph or with Clay, kind of,
or just even bringing in some like veteran role players.
I personally think
I prefer star.
I think they need to make a move.
If you could package Poole or something in a trade to grab veterans,
I think produce.
I think they retool around Steph.
Yeah.
But next one, we're gonna go to the 2 other series that one's on now, one was on yesterday. No, They're both on now.
They're both on today.
I'm stupid. They're both on
They
today.
both on today.
They're both at 2 apiece. The Suns evened it up. You know, I was here on the podcast last week preaching about how this could be a sweep. I said the only way they win is if D-Book and Kevin Durant average 80 a game, and they
told you
did exactly that.
I said we heading
and
back
Isaac
to the
said
valley.
They'd get a little more help at home, which I mean that's pretty standard. The role players always play better at home. I really didn't think that they would average 84 in game 1 and like 78 or 79 in game 2.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, they evened it up, and then actually the Sixers did the exact same. So they won their first game. 2 really bad performances, at least from James Harden and everybody else's standards. Joel's been pretty solid since he came back.
Yeah, first game aside.
But Harden was back alive and well again in game 4. They tied it at 2 apiece. I kind of want to start with that series. How's that game looking right now?
16 points, Philly lead.
Sixers have been in control the entire game. And I really want to just make a point here that this entire series to me is on the back of James Harden.
Yep.
Like it has nothing to do with Joel. Joel has showed year after year that they've been in the playoffs. He's going to give you 30 and 10 when he's healthy.
All he needed was help.
He just needs somebody to get him a consistent 15 to 20. I mean, and when you're giving him 45, 40, like there's no way they lose.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're there's no way they lose. I mean, we've seen it, right? Like we just saw with the Suns. If you've got 2 guys going for 35 to 40, regardless of if you've got another guy going for 50, there's no way you lose. Like it's just, especially when you also got Tobias has been playing.
Yeah.
I mean, Tobias had his worst game.
Yeah,
last game.
9 points.
That's the first time he's dipped below 15, I think.
No, he had 2 games in a row where he was around that 9-point mark. I believe it was 8-9.
Maxi's had a few bad games. But he's another guy who can get you 20.
Yeah, he's 5 of 11 today.
I think the Celtics. We actually said it. I think we all picked except for, I think Danny went Celtics in 7. I think me and Isaac went Sixers in 6.
I think I went Sixers in 7.
I said Sixers in 4 or 6.
Yeah, I got 6 still.
I said it would either be a sweep or it would be in 6 back in Philly.
I got him in 6. It's just too much. I just don't think.
If this is it though, if James is playing like this, I really don't see the Celtics winning.
Well, yeah, and I ain't gonna lie. What's his
Marcus Smart's been insane.
Yeah.
Al Horford's been hitting threes. They've been getting
Joe Mazzulla, man. It's Joe Mazzulla, bro.
That
man's handed
2 for 6.
But he's been solid.
Horford's 0 for 7 today.
And of course, they're all shooting like crap today.
At the crib, though.
Yeah, that's tough.
At the crib, though.
Hey, Horford's 0 for 7 is all from deep.
The problem I have, which I mean, we can even get into this. I'm going to tackle the Suns first because I have a follow up to our Celtics Sixers one. But very, very impressive, I think, overall with what the Suns have been able to do. Especially considering your third quote unquote star has been Charmin Soft this entire playoff run. And you bring in a guy like Jock Landale, it's just been
my God.
I mean, that to me has been the saving grace. I know you have like guys off the bench like a Terrence Ross and
I'm on your page.
TJ Warren.
I'm on your page. See?
But Jock Landale being able to play big and get offensive rebounds and really be able to fight down low with the likes of Aaron Gordon and Jokic and even MPJ down there. But he's been huge in my opinion because he's been getting offensive rebounds, just getting extra shots for guys like KD and Book. And obviously with how efficient they've been this series, if you give them 2 chances to flip a coin, they're going to hit one of the 2. You know what I'm saying? So
Book might hit two.
They might, Book might hit it, get offensive rebound off of his own hit, and hit it again. That's how incredible he's been this postseason. But yeah, I just think that's been the biggest part for me. If he can play like that in Denver, Denver's got a problem.
To me, he's already played like that in Denver. I think we said it earlier. It's the role players to me.
Well, KD also was pretty
inefficient.
For his standards, yeah.
Inefficient. It was what? I think his last game against Denver, he was 12 for 30. Then he picked it up the last 2 games, and I think
he got to the line that kind of
a lot more. And I think that to me that was the key in Phoenix because now he's seeing something that works. What was helping him the last game was him found it out in game 3. If I can get downhill
That's it.
I could put that's it. It's over with. Now my game is open back up.
Because it's tough too, because then it pulls the double away from Book.
Yeah.
So now Book's one-on-one if you kick it out.
And that's where it gets a little iffy. But to me, I think it falls back down to the role players. Like I was saying, we head to the Valley, and I was like, can Aaron Gordon do those things they just did in Denver? Mm-hmm. Aaron Gordon has scored 9 points in game 3, 11 points in game 4. Right, after he had like 15 points, or a little bit even more.
Like 23, I think.
23 in Denver. And I think he's just completely lost it as KD is slowly starting to pick it up more and more on the offensive side, being more efficient. But then if you look at the bench at that point, Bruce Brown struggled. KCP, 3 shots after the man was banging. He probably been the most efficient one to me out of everybody on the floor because he's hot to me. Yeah. He ain't missed every time you look up. I feel like KCP is hitting something.
No, the bench was definitely non-existent when they got to Phoenix.
Yeah, and then that switch of making, instead of playing little guys like a Damian Lee off the bench for Phoenix, you combated it with a TJ Warren and Terrence Ross and a Jock Londale.
Well, what's good about Ross and Warren is that those are two other guys that can get their own they shot. Can create their own shot regardless.
They might not be able to play defense worth the lick, but it's the offensive aspect.
Right, but it keeps they can't clog it now on KD. Yeah. So now KD's getting downhill and they put shooters around now instead of having guys who are just, better defenders but mediocre on offense.
Yeah, but then I'm also forcing guys like a Christian Brown to play defense. Christian Brown was looking at motherfucker Damian Lee like barbecue chicken. Like, bro, I could lock him up easily.
Right.
Terrence Ross is a little different. Terrence Ross like, bro, he hit a 3 over him like it wasn't shit. Like Terrence Ross was like, I could do this type of scoring. Just give me this minutes. TJ Warren, the same thing. I just said, give him the minutes. Torrey Craig, give me the minutes. Don't play these little guys where we running freaking, I got Damian Lee guarding Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. I think
Phoenix looks right now that they've adjusted to the point of just not really caring about defense. And that's being able to do enough to make it tough. Let Jokic get his and just let everybody else lock down everybody else.
Been good too.
He's been really as much as we keep talking, that's why I keep saying the role players. As much as we talking about KD and Book scoring 80, Jokic and Murray have combined for 80, and they outscored Book and KD last game. It was 83-6.
Jokic
almost did that on his own. But I'm just saying. But when I'm looking at to me, it's nowhere in hell a person scores 53 and should lose the game.
Yeah. But historically,
and the second person scored 38.
Worse. Yes, Jokic in the first round, he scored his playoff high at like 40 something in Minnesota, and they lost that game as well. So historically, they're better when he goes for 20 to 25, and he's getting 15 assists. Yeah. Like they need to get back to that.
Yeah, and that's kind of hard now, I feel like, just because it's like, well, the production's just not there. I need Aaron Gordon and stuff. It should change a little bit tonight, which I'm kind of interested to see because it should change tonight.
I would be surprised, honestly, in my opinion, if Phoenix won tonight.
Yeah, and that's why I said, and I think Book made a great quote, this series doesn't start until someone wins on the road.
Yeah, right.
And that ain't going to be until game 7, probably. And that might not even be game 7. It could be, it might be Denver win tonight, Phoenix win 6, Denver win 7. Like it can be like that. Because right now, Phoenix ain't got a good history in game 7, Joe. I ain't got time for that. I need to shake your
hand. That's revenge though, especially for the guys that have been there. KD's been in a game 7. KD knows what it is. So,
and I just like it that he's just now starting to be more efficient as we picking it up.
But that's what happens when you're a pure scorer and you start you play the same team over and over again. You figure out how they're trying to stop you.
Yeah,
and when
I think right before game 4 ended, one thing I do not want to hear if I'm a Denver Nuggets person is that yes, Phoenix and KD have only had I think 18 games together. But if Kevin Durant is looking at you going, "Oh, I'm starting to be more comfortable with them now," that's scary to even.
I think you could see it flip. I think KD could start going for 40 to 45 these last few games down the series. And then Book goes for 30 and like 10, 30 and 12 assists.
Yeah, and I think one thing we talked about it before we started recording. It's a little bit of addition by subtraction. And not to knock him as much as this guy over here would, but the Suns are playing fast without.
They're so much better without their playing.
Yeah, I ain't no cap. He could sit out the rest of this. He could just sit out the rest of the playoffs.
They're so much better.
Now they're not letting Denver set up properly.
They're like just completely chilling in the half court.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I get what Chris Paul is, man. He's such a mastermind, pure IQ. knows the game, gets guys in the right spots. But bro, at this point in the game, give the fucking ball to Devin Booker and get the hell out of the way. Just get the hell out of the way. Get the hell out of the court. Just get out of the arena. Like Devin Booker, it's his team, bro. Like that's it. That's it.
Like the way we pushing the basketball with Cam Payne and Devin Booker right now is unreal. And I have to take
Cam Payne can take a seat too.
Hey, we can run Book at the 1. I'll be happy with it. I just
that's
need Landry Shamit's threes to come with us.
I'm telling you, we're gonna get there because we got a segment. But bro, Book, I'm telling you right now, what he's doing right now is what he should be every day in the regular season. But I mean, I know it's just hard when basketball, but
it's a little harder too when before KD got there, and I got my Sharman soft DA and my man with the Walker. Everybody, it's just like all that attention goes to Book at that point. So yeah, I might not score 40 like that.
The level D Book is on, I think they could run like 3v5 right now.
That's how they've been playing low key.
Like KD could get KD somewhere else, give DA give Book a screen. And just he'll take on 2 guys at a time.
I'm watching Phoenix weather Denver storms because Booker is literally putting a storm on his own. Like
it's very terrifying.
No, and it's not even like he's not only taking like super high percentage shots. He's taking a ton of mid-range shots.
And he's taking tough ones.
He's taking threes.
I was about to say the last 2 games he's actually hitting threes.
I've seen some shots go in where I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and they're going clean. Like
changing his elevation, changing his release points, floating it off the glass. He's not getting to the line. So he's averaging 38 and he's not even getting to the line.
This is a star player who was like, you gave me another star. This is different than having Chris Paul. Way different.
Yeah, you don't have to double Chris Paul.
You can double Chris Paul. You might not ever touch the ball still because Chris still gonna try to figure his way around that. You go double Book and the KD on the other side, KD gonna eat you. You go double KD, Book gonna eat you. It's
it's tough. It's a really tough spot. So one thing did happen in the second quarter of that game. So we'll just get into
ain't nothing.
The Jokic push on Matt Ishiba. Do we think anything about that?
No. Matt Ishiba, sit your ass down, bro.
That was pretty stupid. He grabbed the ball like he was trying to fight for it.
Get out the way.
Yeah.
Don't do all that goofy shit. I want Jokic in the series, bro. Jokic is amazing to watch, bro.
I was really happy that they didn't suspend him.
Jokic actually today after warmups, he came over and went to greet him, gave him his warm-up ball, said hi, they hugged. All's good. No one.
I think at that point Matt Ishiba was just like, okay, maybe I fucked that up.
Well, he said it. He said he tweeted out after the game. He's like, I don't think Jokic should be suspended.
I saw that. But I'm saying,
hey, but can we get that $25K back though? He don't need all that either though. No, that was more at Matt Ishiba, folks. Stay out the way, bro. Give Jokic his $25K back.
Okay, I'm glad we're all on the same point there.
No,
that was stupid.
So the next one I want to talk about, we'll jump to the Miami and New York series. I want to say me and Danny we had bowling on Saturday. We were bowling league, watching the game. Man, the Knicks were fucking pitiful.
Yeah.
They were so bad. At this point, it's 3-1, and the only game they won was without Jimmy. And they only won by 6, 7, 8.
Didn't they lose one without Jimmy too?
They lost the first one, which Jimmy was hurt for the last like 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
In a close game, and the Heat actually went plus when Jimmy was hurt.
Yeah.
But no, Jimmy played games.
Jimmy was out there in the corner hobbling, and they just didn't bother to get him on a switch.
But at the end of game 4, Julius Randle came on and was saying that he was questioning, the Knicks, his team, the staff, whatever, just questioning that. Do the Heat, do the Knicks not want it as bad as the Heat do? The Heat want it more. And I'm curious from you guys, is this a smart thing to do to call out your team, especially when you just went down 3-1? And do we see a situation where maybe the Knicks can try to force a game 7? Again, they do have home court, so they're playing tomorrow in New York. They would have to win on the road. Game 7 would be at the Garden again. But I'm just curious, is it a smart decision? Is he right? I mean, I think he's right.
To me, yes, he is right, because it's a lot of effort plays that's not being done.
Yeah.
Like, I literally watched a play with Mitchell Robinson, only guy right there, and he gives up an offensive rebound. Like, bro, grab the ball. You 7 foot, your arms at your ankles. Grab the ball, please.
Yeah.
But I think the
Why
biggest
did
thing,
I just pictured his arms down. Go
like
ahead, I'm sorry.
my biggest thing though for New York is this: they are shooting 28.2% from three. Okay. No, and look, and you know what? I want to apologize. You know, I did a lot of arguing for Jalen Brunson. Yes, he ain't gonna be there yet. Okay, he's not a star yet. Okay, he ain't. All right, he ain't.
Superstar.
Because this team, right? This team shooting at 28.2. Outside of, to me, Brunson, he's the only one who could abuse the mid range and get to the bucket like that.
Yep.
You don't have a booking KD on that team where you can literally rely on the two
No.
to help you stay in the game, and you're not playing defense strong enough when you get your ass outshot by Duncan Robinson and Max Strus.
Right.
And
Normally you're looking at like Gabe Vincent, somebody
else. Okay, we got Caleb Martin out here just dunking on y'all like it ain't nothing. It's just it's soft to me. It's just they too unengaged on the boards for me. Like
the offense
Miami,
is just terrible for me. I can't
terrible.
watch that offense. It feels like I'm watching a Bulls game at times where it's just it's Brunson brings it up, Brunson runs a set, Brunson takes the shot. They don't get the rebound, and they're back to playing defense. Like it's just so repetitive, the same shit. And you're doing that against such a juggernaut of a defensive team. Like they know quickly what you're trying to do. And that it's so easy to stop for them, especially when guys like Julius Randle aren't hitting shots consistently. RJ Barrett seems to be the best player in the first quarter and the worst player the next three quarters.
Because I don't think many people understand RJ Barrett. When shit get tough, RJ Barrett runs.
Hey, we got to make that lineup. We got to make that
That's what I'm saying.
Soft lineup.
And to me,
Quentin Grimes, I felt like Quentin Grimes had played a decent game the last one, but he's not getting enough tick. He only played.
It's coming back down to that coaching, bro. Eric Spoelstra is walking away.
It's a master class, bro. Pocket.
It's not, this is a master class ass whooping you just seen. Like it ain't no toughness, It ain't nothing. This is a man who is scheming on you right now.
By the time you look, game two or
Bam having a good game.
That's how you know you're down bad.
Yeah,
Bam puts up 20.
Right, Bam been struggling all year scoring the ball, and he give y'all 20 because Mitchell Robinson still
20 and 10, 20 and 10, 10, 12. Something like that.
That's the saddest thing. It's just too sad for me. Like Julius Randle is like the only one. Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are the only ones to me playing with some type of toughness.
So, but here's the thing, because I don't think Ju, in my opinion, has played a terrible series. And I get he's probably playing injured. But I'm questioning, like, he's calling them out, but yet he's not backing it up on the court either.
Yeah,
like I can understand
if he dropped 53 points.
If the Heat were down 3-1 and Jimmy said that, that's different.
Yeah. Different. That's like
I didn't feel like he said it as a motivator to his team.
Yeah, it felt
like he was rolling over and just like wallowing in his sorrow.
Hey, we're gonna lose game 5.
It's it's like, oh, I guess they just want it more. I don't know. I'm just
like it didn't feel like he was
like Brunson to me took the right approach. It was like, let's get this going. Like by all means, we on the brink of elimination, and all we can really do is give it everything we got the rest of the way.
Right.
Like that's how you have to call him out. Like that's somebody who was supposed to be like, I don't think we got enough heart because he busting his ass on one ankle and still ain't getting no help.
Yeah,
ain't getting no help. And Tibbs is like doing what he did with D Rose to me. You just running Brunson into the ground, bro. You got some offensive pieces you can use. If the two guard ain't scoring, put damn Quickly on the ground fucking floor. Quickly can get to the cup and create his own shot.
I mean, he was hurt for game 4, but games 1 through 3, I don't think they've utilized him as well as they could.
Yeah, and that's I think what Tibbs and his issues with. He's always been a defensive coach. He's always prioritized defensive guys over offensive guys, and I think we're seeing that this Knicks team does not have enough creation, whether it be shot creation or playmaking.
Quickly is
so good. He is both of those in one. And obviously you're going to suffer on the defensive end, but you're already suffering.
Yeah.
You're already losing these games.
Like at this point, do what Phoenix is doing.
Yeah,
run him out the gym. Somebody, but
even Dallas did that last year with Brunson. Like you let Luka and like Jalen Brunson was literally walking that way down the stretch for them certain games. Yeah. And then if you telling me you can't bring Quickly in the game, throw fucking Quentin Grimes to the bench or some other two guard to the bench. Let Quickly run that one on the floor with Brunson.
I mean, Josh Hart was effective for one game, and he's still getting.
He was in
a ton of tick.
Yeah, he was in foul trouble.
I ain't gonna lie, he need to get back in the gym shooting. You know, Villanova Josh Hart was a bucket, was an effing bucket. Then he got to the NBA, became a defensive guy.
But I just feel like when I look at their lineup, it's a bunch of guys that do get everything but score.
Yep.
And
That's like the
I think
Bulls.
IQ, if he can be healthy for tomorrow, would be something big for them to try to push it at least back to a game 6. But I'd be surprised if it got to 6. Dude.
That's
No, they going home. They going home, Joe.
So I wanted to go back to this Sixers and Celtics thing just because I have a question posed. Kind of a Tatum and Brown thing. We poked around at it last week a little bit, and I feel like we've constantly poked around at it since the finals last year. And I wanted to just kind of say again, something similar happened. It's been kind of a consistent thing for me. I've seen throughout this series with the Sixers where I feel like Tatum is getting the more shots and opportunities, but yet Brown has continued to be the more efficient of the two.
Yep, that's totally true tonight.
And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, if I'm Joe Mazzulla and they lose this game, so they go down 3-2, which it's looking like it.
Oh yeah, they're down 7.
They'd have to be a miraculous comeback here. Am I looking to get Jaylen Brown more touches in game 6, or do we keep just firing away with Tatum? And I'm not saying the problem is, so where I'm at here is like, I feel like when Tatum's good, he's good, but like when he's bad, he's struggling. Where I feel like Brown is a little more consistent. Maybe when he's good, he's not as good as Tatum is when Tatum's at his best, but he still just seems to be more consistent, especially in the recent months. Obviously, Tatum, the first few months of the season was unbelievable, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do we see something? Should they start looking for Brown a little more? Because again, he's been insanely efficient.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason
he gets 15 to 20 in the first half, but then finishes with 15 to 20, like because they don't go to him.
Yeah, there's no reason why Tatum should have 26 field goal attempts with 7.5 minutes left, and Brown only has 12. And with 14 less attempts, Brown only has 2 less makes. 10 of 26 for Tatum.
That was the same thing last
8
game
of 12
too.
for Brown.
I think Brown was 10 of 16 last game.
I'm gonna check the turnovers here. 2 for Tatum, 3 for Brown. So
which is fine.
And that's where I'm dropping that though. See, for me, it's this. I think in order for Boston to be good, I need a little bit of Tatum from the first game of the finals, where he got like, I think it was 10 assists, some shit like that. Why? Because he was more of a playmaker. Jaylen Brown to me is not a playmaker.
No, not at all.
And that's where it comes down to it, because it's when you play.
But that goes to the point where it's like, why if you're gonna play Tatum as the playmaker and Brown as your bucket getter, why is Tatum getting 15 more shots?
Because I'll be honest, that's how your scheme is just falling right now. Okay. And on top of that, I still think it's Tatum doing it's almost in a Zach LaVine sense. It's like the ball in your hands. You know the right thing to do, but you trying to break this little cold slump you got.
Right.
And that's where I think the more shots is coming from, because he has the ball in his hands a lot more than Jaylen Brown.
Right.
When Jaylen Brown does get the ball, Jaylen Brown like, well, I might not get this bitch back, so I got to do what I got to do.
So you don't think there should be like a change where Brown gets a little more possession?
I think it has to be Tatum legit trying to set Brown up.
Okay.
Like it has to be like a KD and Book thing. Like I might do some pick
attacking, but trying to get KD
or
looks.
Like even when like we want to run some pick and roll, and I don't want to do it with freaking Okogie or somebody or ADA, I do it with Brown or I do it with KD. Jason Tatum has to do the same thing. Do a pick and roll with Jaylen Brown. Get him moving on offense. Because right now all he's doing is sitting in the corner and watching you do this.
It's very sad.
And it's not working, and it's not helping.
Those two to me are like a KD and Book where they can go for 70 easily.
If you get a ball and it's an equal amount of shots, just about like how last year was in a sense, you have a way better team.
Right, you make a finals run.
But I do think that still goes back down to Joe Mazzulla. Like we talking about the same dude down the stretch who lost him the last game to me.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a guy who has to be able to find a way to make those guys work. You already have the right guys on the floor with them. They don't care about their roles. They're just trying to do what their team needs. Like Derek White will score 20 if he needs to score 20, if he has to. Marcus Smart is like the same way. He'll get you 10 or play shit. If he can't score, at least he know I got to play defense as hard as I can. Al Horford the same way. Al Horford isn't good until Al Horford is trying to depend on himself. Like tonight, this ain't Al Horford. Al Horford taking 7 threes. He ain't even take a layup yet. Like, that's not helping them. Tatum has to find a way to get Brown involved. Brown is not a good playmaker because every time those defenses collapse, he turns it over.
Yeah,
just what happens.
Jump, turn around, try to kick it out.
And what's going to happen is that you're going to run into if you somehow make it out of this series, you're going to play a team that really exposed Jaylen Brown, which was Miami Heat. They're going to make Brown be a playmaker, and Brown is not a playmaker. So I don't think you give him the ball more. I think Tatum has to set him up more.
Right. Okay. No, I love that answer, to be honest with you. And that was kind of where I was going with my answer as well, is that when Tatum's shot is not falling, I don't think he needs to just keep throwing it up until it starts falling. He needs to do what he has the ability to do, which is to rebound, to assist, to influence the game in more ways. Now, JB, I feel like, can influence the game. He's probably a better one-on-one defender. I think Tatum may be like a better all-around defender. But to me, he can't influence the game in as many ways as JT can. So I feel like JT's able to take a back seat and be able to,
and they have,
like you said, set up other guys.
The intelligent players on that
team. God, it's insane.
The cutting, if you're Tatum and you're struggling,
when they get fired, it's so scary.
It's not,
and that's why you
game at the end of the day. Like Stacey King.
Book's game is elevating. He's a 1, but Book is actually he's deciding what he wants. I got KD to the right. Let's get KD going. I let KD shoot 30. I'm efficient. I got it. Let me do what I got to do, but I need KD to get going. Tatum has to take that mindset. I need Jaylen Brown to be going the entire game. That keeps us in the game.
Another thing I see when I see in the losses is, or even in the stretches where they're shooting poor, is if Tatum doesn't have the ball in his hand, Jaylen Brown doesn't. And I don't know. I get the turnover thing. I get the struggle to, make the right play, but I would really like to see Tatum or Jaylen Brown just bring the ball up and just kind of like what KD's doing, just attack. And I get Joel's in there, but maybe you can get Joel in foul trouble.
That's better. But that works. Like, you give him little moments. I say you have to give him little moments like that, because that lets Jaylen.
Give him 3 to 5 minutes of just him bringing the ball up every time.
I give that motherfucker 5 touches like that a quarter. We got 12 minutes a quarter. I give him 5 touches a quarter like that, even more. Especially if he owns.
He gets. He's gotten it.
Make Maxey guard.
3 of the first
make
four.
Maxey. Makes all these guys guard. Yeah. And that's not what they're doing, bro. We literally watching Tatum shoot 26 because he's just trying to break us.
He's very strong. He's very large and big for, being shorter. He's probably 6'4", 6'5".
And another thing too is Marcus Smart. It shouldn't be getting 10 fucking free throws to me.
Yeah.
Why does Jaylen Brown got 4 free throws? That's another thing. That just comes from him not having the ball more.
Yeah. I feel like the power of the and again, it could be kudos to the way Philly is playing them. I don't think Philly is the most incredible defensive team.
I mean, they were
really
what, 1, 2 defense
as a unit, but I think that's just a big attest to Joel.
But tell PJ Tucker to go guard Jaylen Brown off of a handoff from Tatum.
Yeah.
Tell Tyrese Maxey.
Tell
Maxey to go guard him on an island by himself.
They will literally foul every
Tell
time.
Harden, tell Harden, who picking them only 2 fouls now, come guard Brown for a couple possessions. Instead of I got Tatum shooting some crazy ass step back.
I feel like you're letting these guys who are fairly subpar defenders again. And I think Tobias has done a very, very good job on JT outside of game 1.
Wiggins gave you the blueprint.
There's nobody, in my opinion, behind Tobias who can match JB, and I just feel like that's a matchup that they have really just not abused this series yet.
Nope.
Not saying it's still not on the cards, but that's something I think that should realistically be abused.
If Tatum is a playmaker and gets his guys involved, I think Boston can win this series. But if he's not going to be a playmaker and he's going to be strictly a scorer, they're not going to win this series.
Right.
Because Brogdon is struggling. Robert Williams is struggling. Grant Williams is struggling.
Brogdon's been really good for them.
He was good the first 3 games.
But I'm looking at those little points where we was looking at last year where Robert Williams had 10 points, and that's because they was feeding him. I'm looking at Grant Williams, who got at least 6 to 8 because you feeding him for those open shots. And he's staying involved on the defensive side. I got my little 1-3, but he's involved on the defensive side because you feeding him a little bit. Jaylen Brown is existent in the second half because you feed him a little bit instead of trying to run through somebody who's struggling right now until they figure it out. And I think that's just more Joe Mazzulla. I don't think Emi Udoka would have did this.
No. I think he was riding his horses.
Yeah. Well, part of it, I did see what I've seen a lot from this game is that they're running this drop coverage, and it's been giving Maxey and Embiid a lot of open shots, whether it be threes or deep twos.
Oh, when they're
They've
hitting
been
those
taking
threes,
and
bro,
making
it's
them
scary.
today. And it's the same thing they did against the Warriors in the finals, playing that drop, giving them a
Too
shot,
much.
giving them space up top. And clearly, I mean, it comes when coaching, when you're a successful coach, it's hard to get away from things.
Yeah.
But when something's
Yes.
not working, you have to be able to adapt. And that's what the playoffs are, right? Is
100%.
adapting
100%.
because we all know the
Yeah.
first game of a playoff series doesn't mean anything.
Like, I think the Warriors and Celtics flipped. The Warriors in pick and roll. It's use it till it don't work no more. To me, Boston is not doing anything right on the like that side. It's either adjust or get your ass whooped, and they ain't adjusting to me.
Yeah. I agree.
And he has to be a playmaker. I'm sorry, Tatum has to be a playmaker. As much as he want to shift himself into like an MVP conversation, the reason that was the biggest drop off in scoring because he wasn't being a playmaker no more.
Yeah, right.
He can score all the points.
It keeps the defense honest on you as well.
Yes. Like it's hard to go guard KD and Book because they keep you honest. Like you can see a triple-double come from KD. His assist numbers up this year. I can see a double-double from Book. I can see that because they look for their teammates when things ain't going right. They might take some shots to see if it'll break their rhythm, like see if they can get that rhythm back on offense. But they still getting like 10 assists, affecting the game in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Tatum's doing that right now. He might rebound. That's cool. That's cute. But shit, you taking shit off Al Horford plate. Al Horford was supposed to be rebounding, so you can go score and go get the rest of. Yeah, Rob Will. Like Rob Will should not be having 2 rebounds. Mm-hmm. Like this is bad to me. Like for a team who was so dominant throughout the year, this is bad.
I mean, they're in a bad spot. I said, I mean, we all like the Sixers.
Yeah, I didn't think they had the answer for Joel.
This isn't a spot where we're surprised that the Sixers are in this.
It's just like how it's happening and things like
things
of that nature.
Yeah, this ain't like a Joker book. This is not like a Jokic and Booker fight. This is like Joel Embiid came back and said, "Yeah."
Again, though, I think this is a big test to James Harden because, like, personally, if James Harden shoots good in one of those games 2 or 3, the series is over tonight. Yeah. That's my opinion.
Well, it's not even fully up to him, right? He's 4 of 8 tonight.
Game 3 was close.
Yeah,
but Harden was shooting pretty piss poor up until the fourth quarter.
He 4 of 8 tonight because Maxey got it on tonight.
That's what I'm saying is they just need somebody. It doesn't necessarily need to be James.
It doesn't have to be James every time.
They just need somebody to step up and be that second.
Which is honestly, that's even more terrifying for me because now James can run the entire offense and spread the floor even more with Maxey hitting shots. If
this is not even Harden.
Exactly.
Yeah, this ain't even Harden attacking the basket. This is Harden coasting on y'all ass, right?
Yeah. Controlling the game at his tempo, something that we see like a Luka do, that's I think they're again, I've liked them all season. With Joel playing like this, he's healthy again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a tough team. I'm not going to count out the Celtics though. Again, they've been they're battle tested. They've been there consistently. 3 of the last 5 ECFs made the finals, so I'm not going to count them out at all. But they're not in a good spot after being in a good spot 2 games ago. So let's go next segment. I got a fun one. Danny, you wanted a segment? You're getting a segment. All right. We're going to bring back a little something. We go through the would you rathers, the overrateds, the start bench cuts. And that's what I'm going with right now. A start bench cut. Now we all know what it is. I probably shouldn't even have put it in there. It would have been probably more fun. But it's a start bench cut between current playoff form, now not careers, not MVP seasons. It's current playoff form, which all 3 are probably all 3 are probably in the best form of their entire careers at this point. But we've got the Joker, we've got Jimmy Butler, and we got D Book. Now, Isaac, I'm pulling at your heartstrings. I'm kind of pulling at ours a little bit. Yeah. We love Jimmy.
I ain't gonna lie, my heart's in 3 different places.
Joker's probably my least favorite on this list, but I have immense respect for what he's able to do at his size. You just don't see it anymore. So, start bench cut. Let me see what you got. I don't know who wants to go first. If you guys already have a list.
I got my mind made up. My mind made up, but it's not a good reasoning behind it.
Okay, I'm gonna hear
All right, you already know the deal. We starting Devin Booker in my life.
it.
It's my favorite player. 3-level score. And it's kind of funny that everybody like a little bit amazed with what he's done. I already knew he had it in him.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't go against Hemi Butler. That's another favorite player of mine.
Wow. Okay.
And I mean, I know he a 2-time MVP, but he playing my Phoenix Suns, so I'm cutting Nikola Jokic.
This feels biased.
It is biased.
Well, there's no way this is not going to be biased.
This feels biased.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I said it before.
He's starting the Sun, and he's cutting the Nugget.
Yeah,
This feels biased.
Mention the X-Bowl.
I thought about this when I made the list.
I'll tell you that now. I'll tell you that now.
All right.
The series over.
How you feeling? Are you torn between? Are you on a rotisserie again?
I watched that clip back and I'm dying. Man, when it comes to if I'm talking about who's like in order of my favorites, Book's last.
Oh God, yeah.
But I can't cut the man while he's playing like this. But I can't cut the other men while they're playing like this. Like,
no, you just pulled in my heart.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, C's. I don't like you for this list right now.
This one's tough. Like normally there's one guy on these
gonna,
lists where I'm like, this is it.
I think I'm gonna surprise.
I'm gonna current form. I'm gonna start Book.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me.
I think that's the only right answer.
I mentioned it. It's just
Danny, I need you to clip that, man. Clip that. I ain't gonna ever get him to start.
Hey, I'll add to the clip. I'm starting Book too, so
hey, I need a clip of this.
Yeah.
I need a clip.
This is where it gets deep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to cut Jimmy. He's been in the first round. If this was the first round still, I would 100% have Jimmy there.
Now, is this a test to just how bad the Knicks are?
Yes, I think so.
He hasn't had to be Hemi.
Yeah, and I think he's been able to stay more around that like 20-25 range.
I mean, he was Hemi game
crazy.
1 up until he twisted his ankle.
Yeah.
I think that's why he's been a step back.
Towels have been thrown in with 4 minutes left, everyone.
Yeah,
Me.
But yeah, my list is the same.
Yeah.
I was gonna 100%. I think the only right answer is starting Book, in my opinion. Regardless of how Jokic has been, I just think he's been not consistent enough in the scoring sense. And even when he went for 53, he wasn't assisting as much.
He was rebounding.
Right. But he hasn't been, I feel like Book has been fairly consistent. You're averaging 38 in the playoffs. You're putting up numbers who are just now one step below Mike. You know, you're starting to get into superstar.
He's looking like
your
he's playing
Hall of Fame legend
rookie with that shooting percentages.
Yeah, and now in this series, especially the first 4 games, he's getting people involved. So yeah, I think he's the only right answer for 1 right now. But I'm gonna bench Jokic because I think he's pretty close. Again, he was pretty spectacular against Minnesota, but it also felt like he wasn't trying as much because they kind of felt like they could win that series in 5 or 6, regardless of how it went. He's definitely amped it up a little bit in the Suns series, and you can tell the numbers have gone up. He's gone for 50. He's gone for almost a 20 and 20. So he's my number 2 bench. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna cut Jimmy as well.
Hey, Jimmy,
that's tough. That's tough.
That is tough.
Because Jimmy, I feel like if again, honestly, out of the 3 of them, if the game was on the line, I'd probably have Jimmy taking the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I would too. As much as Book's my favorite player, I have Jimmy taking.
Like if the Knicks pull this game tomorrow close, Jimmy's gonna pull through.
Yeah.
We should make that a segment.
And he's definitely the best defender out of the 3, which is something we probably didn't really take into consideration.
Maybe I was considering it. It's just
I did.
You also have to think he's playing with the absolute least. Maybe I don't know, Brooks.
I got Book starting, but I got.
I think with KD
I'm
in
just
general,
gonna cut the nugget.
That's already like
Yeah.
3 of what Jimmy has.
Oh yeah. If that's if Tyler was healthy, that's the whole Heat supporting cast offensively.
Right.
So without Tyler,
I think it's really tough to cut Jimmy, especially being the consistent playoff performer. But I think
I only bench Jimmy because I feel like he's willing Miami to a finals run right now by himself.
Yeah,
that's
with the Bucks out, and one of the 2 Sixers or Celtics out, they are looking
Pretty
like it's possible. Looking like it's possible. It's for everybody that called the bubble a fluke.
I saw this. I hate this argument. The bubble has nothing to do with this.
But I think the bubble was worse on them.
These are different teams.
Hooping wise, it was easy.
This team is worse than the team they had in the bubble.
And the bubble.
Talking about the Heat team?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then on top of that, mentally, it was rougher for the NBA players. Now, the hooping aspect was different because we have guys getting buckets in there. And that's because they ain't had nobody yelling at them.
Ain't no depth perception issues, ain't no crowd.
Hey, I just want people to understand. You think about staying somewhere. I don't even know how long they was in the bubble. I can't remember. But you think about staying in one spot, one area for just about majority of that time. And anytime you left, it made the news. Like, you couldn't even go to the strip club, Joe.
Was it Lemon Pepper Lou?
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't even go to the strip club. Like, yeah, that was rough on them mentally. I'm glad Paul George came out and talked about that. But stop doing that with the bubble, bro. The bubble
Jason Tatum is the next Paul George.
Don't do that because that means he might get hurt.
He's the next Paul George. No, not by getting hurt.
I think he's talking about all the talent. And
when he's good, he's top 5.
And
but he's barely ever top 5. I still think he's better than Jaylen Brown, though. That one's for Danny.
It's because he's got a better all-around game.
Yeah. But we're gonna go to the last segment today with the all defensive teams that came out. We've got. I'll just run through it quickly. The first team consisted of our very own Chicago Bull, Alex Caruso, and then we're talking about Jaren Jackson, Depoy, Brooke Lopez was runner-up, Drew Holiday, I feel like that one's a little surprising that he's first team.
I mean,
but
it's
again, I just think it's with how Milwaukee
is 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a
center. I know, I'm just saying. But and then Evan Mobley, who I think was another possible competitor. He was the third.
He made he made a late run as a.
And then we'll go to the second team, which OG Draymond is a good one. Mm-hmm. Derek White, I think, is one of the best guard defenders in the league. Bam Adebayo, and then freaking Dylan Brooks is disgusting. But yeah, that was your second team. What do we think? Any snubs? And is there anyone that we feel like shouldn't have been where they were? Personally, I would have liked Draymond in the first team. But again, with the way they have to do the
forwards
next year, it will be different when they go into just picking top guys rather than having to have positions. Because I definitely think Draymond could have been in the first team. OG as a guard, OG and Drew could have flopped.
Yeah.
Honestly, OG and Drew could have flopped because OG, the stats that he held when he was primary defender was pretty insane.
I think what's-his-face shouldn't have made it though.
Dylan
Brooks.
He had a good year defensively. I think the playoffs definitely ruined that for him. People don't care about what you do in regular season when you flop.
It doesn't matter because
for me though, I don't think I would have rather substitute like a Marcus Smart before Dylan Brooks.
I like Marcus Smart as well.
Yeah, I
mean, we did get Derek White, and
he was my player out for my biggest snub.
Marcus Smart?
No, my biggest snub was Jalen or Jaden. Shoot, whichever McDaniels is on Minnesota. I always get him confused.
Jaden McDaniels. He's the one that busted his hand, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's slapping a curtain that had a concrete wall behind it.
Yeah.
No, he didn't slap it. He punched it.
He did punch it.
But yeah, he statistically he was one of the most impactful on-ball defenders in the league. He took the tough assignments. He was the one guarding Steph when they play against the Warriors. He was by far their best defender. A team with Rudy Gobert on it. He was by far their best defender. And I thought that he should have made at least second team. I thought he was taking assignments like OG every night, taking the top dog, causing terrible games with his length and his athleticism, ability to stay in front of guys, recover when he got beat. to me, that was my biggest snub. You mentioned another one, Isaac, before. I think, or you mentioned it, Christian, before.
I had two. I mean, I think
Anthony Davis.
I think Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis.
The injury probably hurt him, where he missed a significant period.
I even got Nick Claxton in there too, though.
I think Claxton
really good. That's really good.
Now, the reason but I don't like his actual defense. I love his weak side shot blocking, but I don't think he's that good of a defender.
But if you break down I want to say the advanced stats.
Joel,
yeah, but to me, like, yeah, if you look at like, yes, it might not look good, but if you looked in terms into the entire game, his advanced stats,
yeah,
right, he was top 10. He was right behind Triple J, our depoy, in total blocks for the year. Yep. Then he's 6th in defensive rating. When half of these guys that's all first or all defensive second team, they all in like the top 15. I'm not understanding how he couldn't make it. Another thing I didn't like the Dillon Brooks thing. Dillon Brooks is not a goddamn guard. You running Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and who's that 3 forward? Dillon Brooks. He's not a guard. I think you just found a way to put Dillon Brooks on a defensive team, which means you could have found a way to put AD on that list. Right. You could have put Giannis on that list. You could have put Marcus Smart on that list.
Yeah, you could have put a boatload of people there. And if you're calling him a guard, you could have called OG a guard. So
like, that's tough. And I don't think he outplayed guys like a freaking like the guards that they have on this list. I don't think Dillon Brooks on the defensive side of the ball outplayed a Bridges. He didn't outplay a Butler. He didn't out Jimmy Butler. He didn't out
Michael. Yeah,
and I think he didn't outplay one guy's job to play defense in New Orleans was Herbert Jones. Herbert does his job better than Dillon Brooks.
Yeah,
he's incredible.
And I think I use this comparison a lot, and I felt this way with the Kings. A team can only win so many awards before you start giving away the credibility, right? So you have a guy, if Jaren is the true defensive player of the year, that means he should not have another teammate on all defense, right? That means he should be, it's the same thing to me. You cannot have coach of the year and MVP on the same team because that means somebody is not.
Someone's influencing somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody, right.
Like the Kings, right? They got executive of the year, they got coach of the year and clutch player of the year. I didn't understand the executive of the year award, but you're telling me, so is he the one that gets credit for what they did? Is it Mike Brown? Is it De'Aaron? It's kind of the same thing here. You got 2 Bucks on the first team, granted a lot more deserving.
Again, because then that kind of hints at it's a system thing rather than it's a singular person that's influencing, which is where I feel like you look at guys like Joel Embiid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be
like, these aren't great, and that's why I like Draymond in the first team. Yeah, because you pull him out, you put on the court, they're the best defensive rating team when he's playing. Yeah, but when he's off the court, they're not. They're in the bottom like 2 or 3, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's second in plus minus behind Caruso, defensive plus minus.
Right, then that's another one. Yeah, that's another guy. Like it's a one-off. OG's another one. Like you're looking at some of these guys as like one-offs who aren't just part of a system. It's guys who actually make the defense better.
Like to me, I'm looking at some of these forwards, and I'm looking at Dillon Brooks. Let me ask you this: Dillon Brooks,
man, hating. I love how much you hate Dillon Brooks.
It's too much credit being given.
Yeah,
it's Dillon Brooks,
somebody who's going to be struggling for a job next year.
See, I don't think Giannis. The thing is, too, these awards always come with a lot of reputation.
Giannis missed a lot of games.
I also think he had a down year defensively for his standards because we saw him be so great defensively back in the day that I think now especially with Lopez making such an impact.
And that's what they do because Giannis has developed his offensive game so much from when he was a depoy. Yeah. That he puts so much effort on offense. It's hard for him to put the same consistent effort night in, night out on defense, which is why having a Brook Lopez is so necessary for them.
Be realistic. I don't think Drew had his best. I mean, we talked about it last week.
I thought
he didn't have his
best.
Yeah, I didn't think he had his best defensive year. That's to me a reputation pick. Yeah, I think there's other guards who could have made it.
Feels justified. Triple J.
I
like OG going up. I like Draymond going up.
Yeah. I got the top 4 guards who didn't get in. I think should have been all defensive, and that's Smart, Bridges, Jimmy Butler, and Herbert Jones.
Bridges, I really like.
One of that four should have been in an all-defensive
Jones
team.
is also like that hybrid. He plays
Which is
like
crazy.
a 2-3-4.
You tell me Bridges, who was runner-up to Depoy last year, now
Yeah.
all of a sudden isn't even
Just
a top
not
10.
even in a,
Well, it's the same.
not
And,
even,
and last year's Depoy isn't even an all defensive first or second team.
Right.
But his understudy is the guy who comes off the bench for him.
Exactly.
It's
this is backwards to me.
and I mean I like Derek.
Well,
I like
the Derek White
pick.
actually, the Derek White pick I love. I ain't gonna lie, I agree with you on that. B. I was looking at the stats before this, like for the sting. I was like, yeah, Derek White is out producing Marcus Smart on defensive.
Derek White's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
so
Smart
I'm
has
not mad
taken
at
a
that.
leap offensively. He's been a little bit more consistent.
It's a lot harder to see in the postseason, which is what we've kind of is in the recency effect that's in our mind. Derek White doesn't get as much tick as Marcus Smart does.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart's really out there playing a full 40 if he can. But Derek White in the regular season, when he's getting constant minutes, he is elite defensive.
Dude, this guy, I could
He's
not
a
watch the
pest.
Celtics game without
He's a
at
pest.
least a blocker.
He's a pest. He's long. He's big for, he's very similar to like we were talking about with, goddamn, I can't remember. It's almost been over an hour. I can't remember what I was talking about earlier, but yeah, he's very, very, very pesty. Very pesty. I like the Derek White fit a lot, actually. I think that was that was somebody I think they kind of, I think they got that one right.
That Dylan Brooks thing killing me, Joe.
Honestly, I saw these right before we went on air.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you didn't see him before when I
No, when I scrolled and saw Dylan Brooks, I did kind of, my heart did skip a little beat there. So,
it's just when you look at the rest of the people who in the, if he's classified,
right? We're talking about like borderline superstars, or I mean, I guess
like
Derek
guys,
White's not, but
I'm looking at the rest of these guards outside of Marcus Smart. I'm looking at Bridges, Butler, and Herb. Like, why? Like how?
I think even like Drew a nod for like
and then you switch it to the
you could say the same thing for Bridges or Butler.
And then you switch Desmond Bane to forwards. Like, this is backwards. I just think he was just trying to get Dylan Brooks on here.
Yeah. It feels like, again, the reputation of him just being that kind of gritty, hard-nosed player.
Well, that's what we talked about.
I'm not saying, again, his stats were there, but...
Yeah, it's like we talked about, you kind of said it with Bam before we started recording, like, he's going to be there every time. Like, he's going to be one of those reputation guys, no matter what kind of year he has, as long as he's playing, like, he's going to be up there.
But he's not better than Joel.
And he's not better than Classic.
He's not better than
Anthony
different Davis.
Type of defender.
He's not better than Giannis.
He damn sure ain't better than Jared Allen on defense.
It's tough to make
comparison.
$3, but
I just think
guys,
when we think in defense,
6'9", probably a forward if he's on any other team.
To me, when I'm thinking all defensive teams, I'm thinking the best 10 defensive players. Fuck a reputation.
Right, and that's what it's going to be next year.
Well,
preferably.
Reputation
has to be 10 defense. That's my thing, and that's what's harming us. Because I'm just looking at the center. I don't think Bam outproduced the centers that they have. Didn't produce. I don't think he's better than Nick Claxton, Embiid, Jared Allen.
I don't think so either.
He is a better defender. Yes. It's the way they impact the game, though. He's not a shot blocker. He's not going to be getting the stats. He's just the type of guy who can get switched on to anybody. Yeah, and he's going to stay in front of guys. He's going to give guys tough nights.
But what's the difference between that and Anthony Davis?
So that's where
Anthony Davis, who can shot block and protect the rim.
Even Jay McDaniels did the same thing.
Yeah.
Guard 1 through 5, block shots, and AD did the same thing.
Yeah.
Two guys I think still should be above him.
Yeah. Definitely some snubs, man.
This is almost Western All-Star
goal. Probably comes down to just the games played.
I agree. I think the same.
I think if he plays more games, he's in.
Give him 10 to 15 more games, and he's definitely in. Has to be.
And then
his stats probably weren't racked up. He didn't rack up enough actual stats to probably get him into the upper tiers. But
I would have liked to see Jaden in there. I think he's just, especially going forward now.
I think he'll start being.
I mean, it was a breakout year. So typically, we talk about this a lot. NBA awards, they love to be a year behind.
Yeah.
So
because they give it to the guy with the reputation, then they give it to the new guy with the reputation.
Yeah, and they're like, oh crap, wait, this guy's been good for 2 years now. We gotta reward him. But it'll be interesting to see how this compares to next year's team.
With both this and all NBA.
Yeah, see how some guys fall out.
Fluidity of the positions versus
all NBA, I mean, it's a little bit more straightforward in the sense that we know, barring injuries or anything crazy happening, we're gonna see Jokic and Embiid finally be on the same all NBA team. Right? Stop blocking each other from the other getting that spot. With this team, however, it's going to be interesting because we've seen it a lot that bigs obviously defensively get more valued because it's easier to quantify a big's defensive impact than it is a guard.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see how it looks
Whether
next
it's
year.
multiple bigs or
I think we're going to be seeing, out of the 10, we could be seeing like 7, 8 forwards and centers, like true forwards.
Right.
Not these like wings.
And that's where I think they'll still try to keep it fairly balanced.
Yeah. I think they'll do their best to at least try to reward some guards and maybe a wing like an OG. But I'm not too mad at it. I do think there's, I don't like the Brooks pick at all. I would have liked to see Drew maybe second team. I don't think he had his best year defensively. Bam could have slipped out of there. But for the most part, I agree with the majority of the picks. So
I would agree.
Yeah. I just don't like Dylan Brooks on this.
Well,
anti-Dylan Brooks out of here, boys.
Yep.
But for the most part, I think that's gonna kind of wrap us up. The Sixers did end up
they 12-point
taking
win.
down the Celtics, so they are up 3-2 in that series, and going back to Philly.
Yep.
So our predictions looking kind of good there with Philly in 6, at least for me and Isaac. But yeah, that's episode 49. So I don't know. We'll have to touch up with Danny and talk and see what we're doing for episode 50. I don't know if we're going to end up. He might have something bigger planned. I don't know what he's got up his sleeve. We'll see. But next week will be episode 50, the big 50. It's pretty much aligned almost directly with a year since we started.
That'll be this Friday on the calendar day.
I don't have any of the metrics to kind of know where we've come, but we've amassed a fairly small, decent following. I'm not gonna lie. And
we got our consistent, we get our spikes.
Yeah,
we're trying to figure it out.
We're gonna start getting more consistent social media posts out again once the 3 of us figure it out. Start helping our boy. That's the plan. That's pretty much it. We had NBA playoffs have been coming in full throttle. I think the games in the second round have really brought it up a notch, especially this past weekend. The blowouts have been a little annoying for the bettors.
Yeah,
but blowouts are tough. Blowouts are tough. We like our close games.
Malcolm Brogdon has
to rack up our stats.
6 threes in this series and took 2 today.
But you can't hit 3 or 4 if you only take 2.
Cooling with my Booker in the valley.
And y'all if y'all think of stuff y'all want to see, let us know. Comment. If y'all know us, text us, message us.
Whatever it is.
Anything y'all want to see, we'd love to. We like taking in, seeing comments, seeing what people want to see. We already done that one segment where we built the greatest NBA player of all time. We built the greatest NBA player of the rest of
we could do that next time though. Build the greatest NFL. Did we build the greatest NFL?
No, we're building a Charmin soft lineup.
That's what we're doing. Well, we already got the starting center.
But just go down, follow us on everything, give us all the likes and all that jazz. If you have time. We do tend to struggle with these outros when Danny's not here.
Yeah,
seems to be.
It's just waffle. We're just waffling on, waiting for Danny to close it out, but he's not here.
But give us a follow, drop a like, look out for the video. Upload should be tomorrow for the episodes on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts is basically the other part. And then we'll look for some clips throughout leading up until the weekend. But that's pretty much it, man. Y'all have keep showing love. This has been a ride. It's been fun.
Oh yeah.
It's been a blast. This is kind of what I'm sure we all wish we could do for a living.
Oh, did I? We talk about it at work all the time.
But
I could just sit and do this and then be a stay-at-home daddy. I'd be happy.
Yeah, I'm almost on my way to that. But shout out to episode 49. That's it, man. That's it. Peace out. Much love.
Let's go, Phoenix.
Yeah. All right. Peace out, y'all.